Another day in the fish room. It's an exciting day because we finally are able to set up the new tanks. I did all the stuff required for the rack, the overflow, the air supply, drilling all the tanks, everything's done. I just got to start setting them up. So we're gonna get those cycling today. Had to check in on some breeding projects and we'll see what else we do. While I'm waiting for the first row to fill up, I'm taking care of all these sponge filters. These are the Hydro 4 Pros. And what I do for these guys is just put an air stone in there. So you just attach it to the one end, put the air stone on the other, and then you would just attach your airline there. Only 12 more to go. We've got the first 2 rows set up. I'm leaving the bottom one for right now. I only have 2 tanks for the bottom. And usually when I'm doing these racks, I leave the bottom empty for a couple days just in case I need to make any adjustments. If a tank is leaking, if I need to change anything with the overflow, it's easy access from the bottom. Once you put tanks in there, it's really difficult to access. Next thing I need to do is kickstart the bacteria to get these tanks cycled as quickly as possible. What I use for that is the Fritz Live bacteria. I got the gallon jugs. We're doing a lot of tanks here. They do have a version that's refrigerated. That would be much better. No store in my area actually has anything like that. You know, luckily at my fish store, once it opens next month, I'll have unlimited access to it. But right now, I had to get this jug on Amazon, which is fine because it's not middle of the summer. It's cooler right now. I've seen people's reviews that they got it in the summer and it came, pretty much bad because you're supposed to keep this in a cool place. If it gets lost in the mail or takes an extra day, really hot, that could really mess it up. I set up the lights with the Kasa Smart Plug. I did a video on the lights that I use and my thoughts on them. I also did a video on the Kasa Smart Plugs, which are awesome for aquariums, the light timers. I'm going to be moving the clumps of Java moss from these 3 tanks. They're all Medaka rice fish. We've got the oranges, the blues, and the blacks there. They've all been with the Java moss for at least 2 weeks, so those clumps of Java moss should be filled with eggs, so I'm going to move them to their own 10-gallon, and we should see fry tomorrow. We'll check back in when we start seeing them. Figured we'd get a close-up shot of the adults while we can. The oranges are looking really good. The blues are starting to color up finally. And the black ones, you can see now the line on the top of the head. I wish these guys were a darker body, but what they do have is that cool black line on top of the head. I got these from someone locally who called them the black Medakas. I'm sure that there's a couple different strains of black varieties of these guys. I'm on the hunt for some that are almost pure black in the body. It's time to check back in on the orange Austral killifish. They've been in here for a couple days, really eating well. Frozen food twice a day, live baby brine thrown in there once a day. I'm gonna check this mop and see if we do have eggs. Hopefully we do. I checked this whole mop and I only found 1 egg, so that's pretty disappointing. Not gonna give up on these guys just yet. I'm gonna give them a couple more days with this setup. Then I'll change it so that it's a mop that's just sitting on the floor instead of floating. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna pair them off and just try to do a pair like I used to. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna have to start looking for some new breeding stock and maybe just start over. The last thing I wanna do today is actually take some sand out of this tank. This is the Aquarium Co-op sand. I got it, I think it was a year or 2 back when they were still shipping the sand. I don't think they do anymore. This tank is the only tank that's not in the fish room. It's right outside the fish room. It's not on the auto water change and the water evaporates and the hose doesn't really reach, so the water level is kind of low, but that's all right. Fish are really healthy in here. They like the algae on the glass. They don't mind. Probably gonna have to clean this tank up, but you can see the dwarf sag just kind of died out. probably because I didn't put any root tabs in here in a while, and the lighting is, it's okay for this tank, but you can see how thick the substrate is. I have a ton of this sand, so I'm actually going to use it in one of the new tanks for a very special setup. I'm not going to spoil the surprise of what it is yet. You just have to wait for that, but I'm going to take this sand, I'm going to try to kill all the Malaysian trumpet snails I can out of this. Doesn't look it, but this tank gets covered in Malaysian trumpet snails, like more than I've ever seen when the lights go out, but during the day they hide. So I'm going to take this sand out, I'm going to leave it outside in the freezing cold, let it completely dry out, sift it, do all that stuff. I've had them survive a lot of really bad conditions, and I really hope I don't carry any over into the new setup. That was another day in the fish room. Keep an eye out for the next few videos. We're going to be scaping these tanks. I have really exciting plans for this whole rack setup. I have almost every single tank planned, what I'm going to do. Lots of new fish coming in after the whole holiday rush craziness. I have a lot of things ordered that are going to ship after New Year's. So I'm really excited for that. Going to get those tanks set up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.